This episode of Jelly Trumpet is dedicated to my daughter, Finn, the game player.
Welcome to Jelly Trumpet! Magnify, Minify, Part 2.
What is she saying?
Well, my translation app says she is scared. Many mini Monokumas with laser weapons coming to kill. We must hide her.
Golly, simply hundreds of the blighters, and they're destroying everything in their path with laser weapons.
She says we must leave or die.
This isn't like any computer games I play.
Right, well, we need a plan. It's at moments like this. Science, Mr. B. Do some science.
Well, I need a keyboard.
Why don't you cook something, Monsieur Jim? cMac?
Coming up.
Yes, the show must go on despite the real possibility of death by laser-wielding mini Monokuma bears.
The Startup, a micro-sitcom with Mary the Entrepreneur. In The Entrepreneur's New Niche, Part 2. Mary is talking on Zoom to her bestie Bev about her new product line.
You are seriously suggesting makeup for babies and calling it baby maker?
Yes, I am, Bev. So when the baby goes on with their crying, dribbling, squinting, vomiting, balling up their fists... Oh, yes! Another product idea!
What are you writing?
Baby Maker Baby Hand Cream. Uncoil your baby cream. Moisturises and unblocks baby's fists. Look, I'm just back from the studio. Look at these promo photos!
Oh, God, I am eating, you know.
This baby is Giles. Just a hint of concealer for the dribbling. See, the dribble stain has vanished. Here's Caroline. See how the bronzer has made her look less pale and more interesting.
Oh, God, what's that?
That's Simon. Wrong shade of blusher. Shouldn't have used that one with his olive skin. It's a blusher called Fire in the Sky. He's more a pink flush with cinnamon undertones type of baby.
Oh, he looks like a clown left out in the sun all summer.
Teething problems. Which reminds me, what does baby need most when teething?
Paracetamol?
That's right. Baby Maker makeup setting spray.
Why?
Well, you don't want your hours of careful makeup application ruined by a baby in pain, do you?
Look, you know, Mary love, I've known you since primary school reception class. Mary, you know what you need?
A copywriter, a developer, product testers, a website, email platform, SEO guru, social marketing mix, video, yes, lots of videos of baby maker children, venture capital, branding agency, a business coach, or our own awards ceremony.
A breakfast bottle of Prosecco.
Oh.
If only I'd bought a keyboard.
I could make a chili.
cMac, IDAS.
Engaging mode. Stealth minus M4.
Brilliant, just brilliant, Your Majesty.
Shh! How come they didn't see us?
Because, Mr. B, and I'm only going to say this once, your ultimate gizmo cMac has shrunk us down to the size of mice.
I did wonder about the bagel suddenly looking so big.
The girl's name is Kotoko, and she is the ultimate drummer.
Oh, that's all we need. Another one.
What? What are you implying? You're not implying, are you?
She says we need truth bullets. They might come in handy.
Who?
Oh no, that's bad.
What?
Now you sound like an owl.
Who?
Those teddy bear things are dragging the podcast to the mysterious-looking black skyscraper.
Right, follow me.
We're the size of mice, Jim. That mysterious skyscraper is some distance away. I calculated it would take 18 hours. And then if we meet...
Who?
Don't start that again.
Who?
I told you.
Anyone will be unable to defend ourselves. And another thing is we won't be able to open the podcast door as we have mice-sized hands.
What? Sorry, Your Majesty?
She's saying, and I'm thinking, why don't you make us full size again?
Yes, I just thought that too. cMac, bigger, please.
cMac, enlarge.
Enabling growth mode G4.
Hurrah! Full size again. Right, I'm going to write something.
I will do science with cMac.
Yes, Kotoko, both of them.
Counting down to interview countdown in 20 seconds.
Hang on, I've got to write something.
15, 14,
I need...
11,
Got it! cMac, make bullets of truth!
9,
That's science, is it? Make bullets of truth, is it? Is it?
Yes, Kotoko. We'll get on with it.
I built cMac, you know, and I've downloaded and installed the whole of Wikipedia.
Well, that explains everything.
Well, yes, it does. It's Wikipedia.
What?
Everything is explained on Wikipedia. And Wikipedia says the game uses bullets of truth. Oh, and my entry says I'm a musician and a scientist.
Mr. B, we're in danger. We've lost Nigel and a whole podcast. What can we do? Well, what does my entry say?
Well, I don't know. I've not read that far.
Why don't I have a Wikipedia entry?
1,
Interview countdown.
So, welcome to our guest this episode on Jelly Trumpet, David Baldwin from Baldwin and, a design and advertising agency in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello, David. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm good. It's good to see you, and it's good to talk creative stuff with you. So, let's
My
kick
favorite
off.
subject.
Question number one: what is your business?
I have a lot of businesses, but at the end of the day, I'm a copywriter. So I have stumbled into the appellation of entrepreneur because I have other businesses, but I have other businesses because I'm a copywriter. And because I'm a copywriter and love brands, I've ended up creating other brands and using those skills to just do things that I'm interested in. So I'm an ad guy who also owns a brewery, who also owns a company that's doing social good for getting Black leadership into boardrooms, and I'm in a band. It's a lot of things, but it all comes back to me being a copywriter.
That's interesting. An interesting start. We'll pick up more about that in the bonus, I think. So you're doing well. You're going to unlock the bonus question, I'm sure. So this is a question I love asking, and I'm really, really interested to see who it's going to be. So question 2, who is your creative hero or heroine?
Well, in the I'm going to stick to the advertising space for a second because I have a lot of heroes, but there's a guy named Howard Gossage, and you may have heard of him. Howard Gossage was a figure back in the 50s and 60s who was an advertising man at a time when, the Bill Bernbachs and the George Loises were exploding in New York and doing this really big things. And Howard was actually in San Francisco, and he's kind of known as the philosopher of San Francisco, and he was decades ahead of everybody else at the time. And there's a wonderful book called The Book of Gossage. There's a book by a guy named Steve Harrison, who's a Brit, who's a really great writer himself, who wrote a book about Howard Gossage called The Only Fit Work for a Grown Man. And Howard led with he kept his creativity and his values in balance in a really powerful way.
Right. That's an interesting one to check out. I do like book mentions. Now, I suppose you're going to stick to design and your advertising. How do you go about starting a project?
Well, I think you need frameworks. I'm a big believer in frameworks and then sort of ignoring them, like using them as guideposts. So we have a lot of framework that we've developed at our company, and a lot of it's through experience and all those things. But once you get the framework, then you kind of got to get out of the way and just get started. I do think the biggest impediment to finishing anything is starting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're starting without clarity, and you just have to get going. And especially in the advertising and design world, where you're like, you have an objective, but there are a million ways you can go with that. So what we do is always, what are the foundational imperatives that we have, and then go from there. And I want to know what the constraints are, because I love constraints. Constraints are where creativity often comes from. It's that tension between what you can't do and what you need to get done where the opportunity often is. I love that. I love that about the business that I'm in.
Excellent. Very interesting. And it's similar to what others have told me when I've talked about creativity. So this sort of continues on. I think you sort of mentioned it, question 4. To what degree do you map out a project?
I think we map out very much deliverables. We map out like deliverables and timing, and then we leave a lot of room to allow for what I would think of as sort of madness, like whatever that framework that you have, like you've got to allow for madness. And then one of the things that we talk about a lot is steering into the fear. Like, where's the fear? What's the scary place in this endeavor? Let's go there. Let's go look at that, and let's go spend some time in it. And what you find with fear is your fear is usually based on, are we going to get this done for the money, whatever those things are. But sometimes it's like, this idea is scary because it's challenging. It's, it's maybe hard to understand. And so you got to clarify it. Like, I love the idea of kind of madness and fear in the process.
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, let's go on to, well, if you face the fear, how do you know when that project is finished?
Well, this is the difference between art and advertising and design and other creative pursuits that are commercial. And that is that you have a deliverable date. And with art, you don't. You finish when it's done.
Yeah.
It might be done in 10 years. With what we do, I think of us as artisans, not artists. We put a lot of art into what we do, but at the end of the day, we're making bookshelves, and we want to make that bookshelf beautiful and or different and unlike any bookshelf that's ever been made before. But it better damn well hold books when it's done. And so that bookshelf is done on the, is due on the 14th. Have a damn good, fine bookshelf. That's the most beautiful bookshelf ever done on the 14th. And I think that's what experience brings you, is the ability to get good fast, and to deliver good fast. And that's where a lot of younger creatives, I think, really struggle. Yeah,
I agree with you. That sort of the time discipline thing is always very effective when it comes to creativity. But
I love it. Again, the deadline is part of the what I was talking about with the tension and the constraints. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Now, this is another one I love asking. What's the best thing someone has said to you that kept you going when it was all a bit of a struggle?
I think the best advice I ever got was from a guy named Donnie Deutsch, who I worked with in New York. And I asked him what his secret was when I was struggling with something. And he just said, "You know what, David, at the end of the day, no one knows what they're talking about. No one knows what they're doing most of the time. So if you're in a room, everyone's having the same imposter syndrome. Everyone's having the same, I don't know what to do. And so why not you?"
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love talking to you. Have you answered this one? Question 7 we're on. Are you honest with yourself?
No, absolutely not. I think I'm the smartest, most awesome person ever. Like, clearly that's not true. No, I think there are two kinds of being honest with yourself. There's sort of the deprecatingly honest, and there's the debilitatingly honest. And I stay away from debilitating honesty.
Quite right. You'll get yourself into trouble if you don't.
It certainly will, man. It certainly will. But no, I don't think I am. I mean, I think I'm as honest as I can be, and with the tools that we have. Cool.
Now, what's the proudest you've been of one of your ideas? Can you narrow it down to one? I think one of the best feelings, I think, in the sort of advertising business, and it's better than like winning awards, and I've won so many awards, and like that walk up to the stage is this awesome thing. But one thing that's like amazing is when a client tells you, it sort of lives in a couple of dimensions, but when a client tells you, "You really solved my problem and you made my company better with that idea," that is like worth the price of admission of the whole like 35 years in the business thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you go, okay, I love that an idea can solve a problem and make things better for whoever you solved it for. And I love that. The other is hearing an idea discussed in a public place, overhearing an idea that you had talked about. That is really, really cool. Even if the people go like, "I hated it, it was terrible." You're like, "Wow, look at that. We made a dent," I love it. So what's, and you can talk about anything here.
Sure.
What is your next project?
Well, I have so many things in the fire. We're about to launch a, hey, when does this podcast?
It's going to probably go out near the end of the year.
Okay, good. So we're about to launch a Mexican lager that we're calling Inauthentico, which is really fun. And it's all about like, hey, we're going to be the beer. My brewery is called Ponysaurus in Durham. We're going to be the beer that admits our Mexican lager is made by white dudes. So we're calling it Inauthentico, and it's muy gringo. I've already, I'm working on an EP right now with a band that I'm in, and we're going to put that out in the summer. And I've always got a million things going on, and I love that. Like it's hard to nail down one project I have going on. I have about 10 things happening.
So we're constrained by this format because I would pick up on a lot of things you've
Sure.
said. So we're going to move on. And
Constraints, we love them.
We're going to unlock the bonus question because we're doing well. We're doing very well. So should creativity be taught as a skill in school?
I think yes, but I would answer it this way, that I think creativity should be an orientation in school, and it should live everywhere, because some of the most creative people I've ever met are mathematicians. They've got incredibly creative brains, and you can't be a great mathematician or theoretical anything without it. Yeah, so I think what I see happening in sort of education everywhere, and this is nothing new, is that everything's rote and learning by getting through the next test and all of those things. And I don't know that we're really teaching people to be creative.
No, I'd agree with you, absolutely. And that's a sort of consensus with other people I've interviewed on Jelly Trumpet. Now, this is another question I love asking and wondering what you're going to come up with. And that is, if a 10-year-old asked you, what one thing would make me more creative, what would you reply?
I would say, don't be afraid to be stupid and goofy.
Okay.
Bring that forward and always live in that sort of goofy, fun, weird world that you're in right now as a 10-year-old, because that can go away.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So question 12, how can a listener get in touch with you?
Man, I'm on all the social channels. I'm on the LinkedIn and the Facebook and the Instagram and the things. You can also find me at Baldwin And. Go to baldwinand.com. And that's AND, not the ampersand. baldwinand.com. You can get me there. So I'm all over the place. I'm Google me.
Google you.
I'm around.
Google you. And everything would be nice, won't it? Everything about you would be good and wholesome.
Maybe not.
All right. So that comes with a content warning, everyone.
All right.
So you, David, you unlocked the bonus question.
Awesome.
We're going to ask you, what's something no one knows about you?
Something no one knows about me is my third stepfather married my third stepmother.
Ooh.
How's that for something crazy?
Is that widely known in North Carolina?
I don't know how many people know that. That's a nice little secret for your audience. Yeah, my parents both died, and my step-parents, the 3N, they got married.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some craziness right there.
Well, craziness, but you've survived and you're getting on with stuff. So that, that's made you more creative, I presume. Right.
Didn't hurt.
I think we've done very well, and Mr. B is going to be happy with me because he hasn't got much to edit. I don't think we've had any fluffs or any cats screaming or anything like that. So I would like to say to you, David Baldwin, it's been lovely and wonderful, and thank you very much for being a guest on Jelly Trumpet.
Oh, what a pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been great talking to you.
I wonder where Nigel is.
If you could just take one pace to your left, Jim.
Of course.
That hit the spot.
My danglers!
I'll just adjust the angle. Let's see if this is the bullet of truth.
Preparing to fire.
Test Jim. Ask him, for the truth of something.
Okay, right, Jim. Jim, are you a good writer?
Oh, well, I have my moments. I think, well, with some practice, I could be.
Perhaps that's a bullet of evasion.
You're right. cMac, reload.
No, please!
Fire!
Right on the tum-tum.
Ask him again.
Jim, are you a good writer?
I won a BBC writing competition.
Well,
He was a runner-up.
a little lie. Continue.
But it was only a little lie.
Reload!
Wait!
Firing.
I hurts!
Sometimes the truth does hurt.
Jim, are you a good writer?
I have my moments. Why are you two looking at each other like that? No!
Half-truth.
Half-truth.
I'm leaving!
Turn around. Face the bullet of truth.
I'm a writer. Oh, my ass!
Finally.
The
truth.
Enemy approaching.
Let us leave.
And get our podcast back.
Now it's time for Ways of Seeing.
My Piers Morgan is tingling.
ways of seeing.
Have you ever tried to be another person? Have you ever tried to view yourself as others may see you? Try it. Think back to a conversation you can mostly remember. Replay the conversation in your head. Only you are the other person. Now, would you have said something else? Would the ending of that conversation be different? If you're a writer, you're usually going to write with some bias, like writing a clever retort. What if you now wrote that conversation from the other point of view? Would the other person have their own retort? If you're in digital marketing and you've written a campaign, become the person you are addressing, what are the objections? Now you have the objections or frictions, you can write a retort for each. Now, where were we? Oh yes, trapped in a Japanese computer game. The score? Jelly Trumpet 0, Warriors of Hope 1. Plus, we're missing Nigel the sniffer squirrel, and I've been assaulted by a coffee machine. What else? Well, Mr. B, if this game goes on any longer, the Germans will win on penalties.
The Germans?
Nice people, great sausages.
Oh yes, great sausages.
Enough! That's them.
しかも化粧箱がないから戻れ
She says that's Nagito and he's a bit crazy.
Bagels!
Okay, no one mentioned the bagels we found.
That's the starter motor.
Where?
Nagito is holding it.
What's he doing with it?
He appears to be using it to fling bagels at people.
Must be the stale ones.
Send in cMac.
Righto.
Set to bullets of lies.
Firing.
Motom, get the starter motor. Alert!
We're running out of bullets.
Oh, le café sur le bagels.
Pouring.
Bagels!
I've got it!
The crazy one has got Jim.
Merde.
He's going to throw Jim off the roof.
No.
He'll never survive the fall.
No, not le motom.
I love Finn.
Finn? But we're not finished yet.
Finn is short for Finola, his daughter's name.
Je vois. cMac?
Out of bullets. Out of coffee. No!
Michel!
Good boy. Get in there. Jim, you're safe.
But we lost Nigel. Nigel sacrificed himself for me.
A noble squirrel.
Well, we have the starter motor. Now let's go home.
やはりそうか
Kotoko says the podcast is on the third floor.
What are you doing, Mr. B?
Looking for Nigel.
He's gone. He's gone, Mr. B. The noble Nigel is no more. Get cMac. Let's get back to the
Time
podcast.
for Jim's medicine.
Okay. Play the Jim's Medicine we recorded earlier, cMac.
Tales from Jim's Medicine Journal.
Sometimes saying stuff out loud can change one element of a piece, and that change is a winner. Most writers know this. You should read your prose, your dialogue out loud. Then you know if a performer will have a problem. You want dialogue to flow. Think of the minute changes you make to a piece. Theatre, marketing campaign, painting, knitting, performance, etc. And the biggest impact you can make from a tiny change. I wrote some scenes for a play with 2 policemen on surveillance duty. The premise, or as I like to think of it, the game, was one of escalation. So they didn't just chomp on donuts, but had a 7-course meal starting with a amuse-bouche, an appetizer, starters, a main, dessert, etc., finishing with cheese and biscuits, all while they had a villain under surveillance. I read it out loud and I thought it was a great idea. What small change could I make that would make a big impact? I went for the first thing that came into my head. One of them, the slightly lower status one, would have a Scottish accent. That worked. Didn't have to change the dialogue or the game. It was funnier, not sure why exactly, but that minor change made major laughs. Try it. Make a minor change to a project for a big payoff.
Starter motor fitted, Mr. Jim.
Good work, Mr. B. Let's all get back inside the podcast where we belong.
Warning!
What the hell is that?
What is it, Mr. B?
Something's triggered the podcast self-destruct button.
Oh no! Wait, why does the podcast need a self-destruct button?
Just a precaution, if we get overrun by the comments section of the Daily Mail website.
Oh, fair enough.
Warning!
Everyone inside. Mr. B?
Turn the self-destruct button off. Motom, while Mr. B does that, you can do your list of the week.
Oh, righto. Are you sure?
Oui.
List of the week!
This episode, 10 amusing things to do with Piers Morgan on a summer's evening. Number 1, roll him in butter and offer him to a litter of puppies. Number 2, dunk him in tea. Is it better than a fake tan? Number 3, holding down the edge of the tablecloth as it's a bit breezy. Number 4, a card against humanity. Number 5, bend over for a minute, Piers, need somewhere to park my bike. Number 6, an extra seat for the fire pit. Number 7, hold a torch at the bottom of the garden and see how many moths he can catch. Number 8, someone to run after the ice cream van. Number 9, taste the burger. Number 10, I need you to talk to the Uber driver so I don't have to.
Self-destruct sequence aborted!
You switched it off!
With seconds to spare.
Shh! What's that?
Something is moving under Her Majesty's cloak rack.
Send in cMac?
No, too noisy. We must move slow. We surround, we jump. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Gotcha!
It's Nigel!
Oh, mon cher chevalier!
Nigel, but how?
I think that we're forgetting that first, Nigel is a homing squirrel. Second, he's used to jumping great heights. And 3, he always lands lightly on his springy paws.
I remember now. Mr. B, could you get a pair of scissors? Nigel appears to have some ribbons wrapped around his tail.
Certainly, here.
Not so fast, podcasters!
Monokuma, but what? How? When? Why?
You have ruined the game, and now vengeance will be mine! You will all die by laser!
What happened there? Wait, I know.
Yes, because you wrote it.
Quel?
Well, in Jim's second draft, I cut off Monokuma's remote control aerial and rendered him harmless.
Bon.
Mr. B, if you please, set course for St Albans.
On it, Mr. Jim.
Jim's work offer!
I've written lots of stuff. I have a play for 5 people, each wearing a different set of gloves. It's a short play, around 15 to 20 minutes. It's called Night Fell 5. So if you fancy a read and putting it on, drop us a line, jelly@jellytrumpet.com.
Join us in further episodes and be more creative. Pick up tips and tricks you can put in the play instantly. Try exercises to boost your imagination. Listen to creative guests. And a whole lot of what we call fun. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or ideas for Jelly Trumpet, email us jelly@jellytrumpet.com. That was Jelly Trumpet, making you more creative with Jim Kinlock and Mr. B. Sponsored by Conversion Detectives, the creative digital marketing agency. Search Conversion Detectives.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for all those that encouraged Jelly Trumpet. Thank you to Mr. Tony for the voice work. Thank you to Miss Claire, the voice of Queen Eleanor and Mary the Entrepreneur. And thank you, Mr. B and Kel. Stay fab.